Okay.
So I guess that means we're live.
Yeah, I think I'm just trying to get this to, as luck would have it, it just bailed on me here. Bear with us, folks. Okay. I'm just trying to get the camera to switch. There we go. Okay. I think everyone can see me. Ross, can you see me?
I can see you, sir.
Brilliant. Okay. So, what I'm going to do. Good morning, everyone. We are live. So, I appreciate everybody. All of us appreciate you joining in. As luck would have it, we've got a bandwidth issue right now. So, but we'll get through it. And the guys at the Garage Mahal, they're going to. I'll have them sign in a little bit later after Ross talks about his cars. We've got Ross from Pennington, New York. If you're on Instagram, he's got an eclectic collection of trucks and some Porsches and a Mercedes. We're going to see that first, and then we're going to move on to a dear old friend of mine. Well, he's only as old as I am, so we're young at heart. But Andy, he's right here on the phone. He's calling in from the Great White, Western New York, Buffalo, New York. He's going to show off his Volkswagen camper. And then a little bit later, I'm going to have the Garage Mahal guys sign in and talk through a couple friends from the South Jersey, high octane South Jersey, one who has the BMW i8 and another is a 987 Porsche Boxster Turbo. I'm very interested in seeing that. So that's what we're going to go through today. Another cold northwestern May morning here. Hopefully this weather is going to change soon, but if there's any moms out there, happy Mother's Day. So, Ross, I'm going to give me a second here, and I'm going to let me choose a file here. Let everybody just hang in there with me. And it is there. And Ross, can you see that?
Yes, sir, I can.
Okay, here we go. So, Ross, you're live. Go ahead and describe what we got going on here.
All right, yeah, this is our fleet of trucks. My family's been collecting, well, not on purpose, but originally had a couple of those first couple of pickup trucks when they were brand new. This is our kind of diverse truck collection. Missing a couple of trucks from this video that weren't parked in the same garage, but we have everything from your standard pickup truck half ton all the way through 18 wheelers as you're seeing right now, and some large tow trucks, heavy record tow trucks. Everything ranges in vintage from 1940 is the earliest one, all the way through I think the new one there is 94. This is a Studebaker E7 pickup truck, 289 Studebaker V8. You can actually probably hear the sound. I'm not sure if the sound's playing for you guys, but we've got glass pack mufflers on it too.
Hold up.
Sounds delicious.
Yep, I turned off the sound, Ross, but you're buffering
That's
a little
right.
bit again.
Just a short clip. Okay. So there's just, I'm going to do a walk around now. You can see if it sounds off, I'll kind of narrate. But again, it's Studebaker came out. It started in the 40s and ended in the early 60s when the Champ came out. It has a Studebaker produced 289 V8. Later on, they borrowed a 289 from Ford. This is actually a true Studebaker block. 3-speed with overdrive. Pretty quick, zippy little truck. Fun to break the tires loose once in a while. She's not just for show. She's also for go. I use her to haul around vintage boats to do a couple of ramps and also bring the truck shows and launch the boat with the truck.
Very cool.
This truck actually was bought new by the father of the guy I bought the truck from. He purchased it new, and he owned it until about 2005 when he passed away. And his son got it. The father had restored it in late 90s, and the son kind of touched it back up after his father died. And it was a little bit of a family fight, and they decided to sell the truck as opposed to fight over it. So we're truly honored to have this really nice piece of history in our collection. And it's 100% Arizona truck until 2017 or 18 when we got it.
Nice.
My screen froze here.
The question, I think it's Mike.
Inside the, go ahead.
He's asking, is it the original color?
Yes, it is the original color. It was originally white with a brown interior. I have all the build records and all the paperwork on the truck from new. Got literally everything the truck came with. I have all those records. The only thing that's unoriginal about the truck is it does have a vintage air conditioning system, which thank God it does. Makes the truck a lot more fun to drive in the summertime. It's just a bolt-up part. It's actually designed for a sedan, so the air conditioning really will freeze out. I've used a thermostat gun in the truck, and it's been like 56 degrees inside the cab.
All right, that broke up a little bit. Say that one more time, real slow.
Yeah, I just was going to say that the air conditioning is so strong that I've measured an indicated 57 degrees inside the truck. It's a very difficult truck to drive if you're over 5'6".
Okay.
It's kind of hard to shift because the pedals are so high and the cab is so tight.
Interesting.
So there's some modifications that you can do to cut the pedals down and shorten the pedal travel, which we've done to make it easier to drive. Also showed in the video there an electric trailer brake controller that's period bracket. So the original owner of this vehicle, he was a car collector as well. He loved Model Ts, and he would travel around the country buying Model Ts and parts with this truck.
Neat. So I remember
I struggled to open the hood with one hand here.
Wow. So Ross, if I remember, because I featured one of these, we had a Resto Mod back in the fall, very similar. Studebaker, because they didn't have any money. There was something they didn't the cab, wasn't it like a modified coupe or sedan? Does that ring a bell, or am I confusing it with something else?
I'm not sure about that. I know the Studebaker Champ shared a bed. I believe it was Dodge who made the bed that they bought for the Champ pickup truck. I don't know about sharing this cab with a sedan.
Yeah, I may be.
Never thought about it.
More than likely, I'm confusing with something else. Okay, very cool. Love the truck. That is a Studebaker. Yeah, John's question was that is a Studebaker engine.
Yes, it is. It is a Studebaker 289.
289. If you didn't hear that, John.
Yep, it was the top trim, top engine displacement of the model year.
Okay, Lou's telling me. Thank you, Lou. I knew Lou would know the answer. Hudson used their car front end for their pickups. Yes, that's where I was confusing
that is true.
Okay.
Is true.
And I think John is typing that the cylinder heads on the Studebaker look very similar to what you've got in that truck. Oh, that's a great shot right there. Look at you with the rainbow. Wow. Yeah. That's a hero shot.
Yep. So this here is a 1952 GMC. If you are a Harry Chapin fan and you're familiar with the song 30,000 Pounds of Bananas, the Halem, Missouri Banana Company was the owner of the truck that went out of control down a hill, lost its brakes in Scranton on a Saturday morning, and the driver was a hero. He actually sacrificed his own life instead of playing through a street market. So this truck is actually almost all original. The cab has been resprayed. I don't think the body has been resprayed. The truck actually has been off the road since about 1958. It was kept in a barn, and it was rediscovered, and the guy who rediscovered it covered the truck in a clear coat to preserve the paint. And I got the truck in barely running condition in the sense that I was able to drive it on my trailer, but wasn't really able to drive it anywhere else. I redid all the wiring, all new wheel bearings and seals and whole 9 yards to recommission the truck. Um, and it's now a great running and driving truck. It came with paper in the glove box, which was a notepad, a receipt pad for bananas, and it was the carbon copy side from 1958. It has the original GM C6 cylinder engine. It's still 6 volt. I think I removed about 40 pounds of dry grease from under the hood when I first got the truck. And this next vehicle is a pretty special piece. It's called a Canopy Express. It's a 3800 series 1948 Chevy Canopy Express. It's a 1-ton version. The half-ton was a lot more common, and these were basically we were invented to deliver groceries and produce and fish and other household goods door to door in urban and suburban areas by farmers and other purveyors of products that residences consume. So this truck is special because it's a 1-ton, which means probably was more for your meats and your fish guys who are carrying a lot of weight and ice and all that stuff. This truck was originally sold in Washington State, and it made its way into a collector's hands about 15 years ago and was partially restored with a thing auction at some point. And when I got it on a bringing trailer, it was in pretty shitty shape. The photos did not do it justice in the sense that it was in much worse shape. Anyway, we built these wooden trays, which are very correct for display of fruit and produce items, and we added these canopies, which can be extended out as kind of a sunshade, hanging scale, and all that other fun stuff that you would expect to see in a period. Everything on this truck is done to be period correct. One exception is that the lettering is a little fancier probably than most would have been. Most farmers were, kind of shoestring budget guys and don't want to spend too much money. This truck here is a 1960
Ross,
auto
we got
car,
it.
DC-75.
Ross, I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
John wanted to know if it's plastic or real fruit.
Well, good question. Take a bite. I'll let you know after. Just kidding.
There we go.
That's all plastic fruit. I had a rough truck show season last year for some personal reasons, so I wasn't able to take it to too many shows. But this year, my plans were to fill it up with fruit and let people actually, buy it for some nominal amount that would go towards a food bank or some
great idea.
food-related charity. So I'm looking forward to doing that once all this COVID stuff is over.
Yeah. All right, cool. Funny story for everyone. I think I started following Ross on last summer on Instagram when, I don't know, it was a common thread, and he basically was two spaces down at a fire department car show. And I realized he was at the same car show about an hour or two later. It's funny how social media can work and go from there. And I've always been fascinated by this great collection here. So keep going, Ross. I appreciate it. Thank you.
So this truck is a 1960 auto car DC-75. It's got a Holmes 750 wrecker. It's a single axle tow truck. This thing is a beast. Got a 220 Cummins in it with a Jake brake and straight pipe exhaust. This thing you can hear from a mile away. It's original patina truck. It's been repainted over the years at some point. I actually had the doors lettered in memory of my grandmother's company, and it's a fun truck. It's got a 10-speed transmission and a 3-speed auxiliary transmission. So 2 sticks. I don't know if anybody else here shifted 2 or more sticks. It's a lot of fun. Moving on, this is a modern classic. It doesn't look so old to most people. It's 1990 built 379 with a 36-inch sleeper bunk. I use this truck to haul our more vintage trucks over long distances. Most things I have, I'll drive them 100 miles, but beyond 100 miles, I'll put them on a flatbed behind the truck and take them around. It's kind of nice to have air conditioned cab, mirror seats, satellite radio, all the modern creature comforts that you'd find in a modern truck today, with the exception of maybe cruise control.
Wow. So,
Yeah.
so I get
So
how long
I've
have
had
you
this
had your
truck,
CDL
I think,
then?
a long time.
Yeah.
I don't even know how many years, but a long time. Um, so
Very
as you
cool.
can see in here, it's pretty comfy and cozy ride. They haven't changed this style of truck very much in the last 30 years. The interior, the dashboard's a little different today, and the headlight shape is a little bit different. But you drive this thing down the road with antique plates on it. Some people look at you like you're crazy. How could that thing be an antique? This is the one of the pride and joy of the fleet. This is a 1965 white 4000. It's an aluminum frame truck for weight reduction purposes. It's got a
Wow.
262 Cummins in it, 262 Cummins, which means it has a turbo. Has a 10-speed transmission, and this is a pretty famous truck in the truck collecting circle. It's owned by a collector who really took all over the country, and unfortunately, he lost his business during the 2009-ish economic turndown, and we've been honored to be the custodian of this truck for the last 10, 11 years or so. Got what's called velvet ride suspension, which is kind of a precursor to air ride suspension. It's a big rubber bushing to help us off in the ride and absorb some of the abuse of the roads. It's got what's called a loop cab. If you think the Studebaker's tight, this thing is real tight.
Okay.
I personally have driven this truck before we had Peterbilt. I drove this truck to a show in North Carolina in the heat of the first week of September, maybe 5 or 6 years ago. That's the last time I'll take this truck on such a long drive. Going through the hills of West Virginia with like 185 horsepower, towing a total gross weight of probably 65,000 pounds, was a hot ride. I had the driver's door open for most of the hills to try to get some wind in.
Wow. Yeah. So a couple people were asking. It broke up. That is an aluminum frame truck.
Yes.
Very cool.
Now this truck is a real special truck. This is called the White 3000. It's a design that really lasted about 25 years, through 20 years maybe, through trucking the White company history. This truck's got 40,000 original miles on it. When you drive down the road and you close the window, it makes your ears pop. That's how tight it is. It was North American Van Line's truck, and it was parked in the warehouse in around 1967, maybe early 68, due to a minor accident. And I'm not sure why they decided to keep it parked. There may have been some unfortunate circumstances with that accident. Maybe somebody got ran over or something. But it was ended up being rediscovered in about 2009-ish, and we bought it in 2012. Fully reassembled. There was a couple pieces that were off, like the fenders were removed and the front axle was removed. We bought it when it was all back together. It still has paper in the corner of the seats from the factory, which you may have seen in this video. I wasn't paying intimate attention to it. It has the largest engine that they actually made for this truck is a 190 Cummins, and actually the radiator is in the back of the cab, because if you put the radiator in the front of the cab, like they did with the smaller gas engines and the smaller diesel engines, it didn't have enough surface area to cool the engine appropriately. So the fan is actually in the back of the truck, driven by a jack shaft. Now
Huh.
let's switch over to some smaller stuff. But Rudy, if there's any questions, let me know about the
Yeah.
3000.
No. The last one was the aluminum frame. So very very cool. Thank you for walking us through those trucks. Always something a little bit different to add to the mix here. And,
Yeah, and then these are just the two. They're both from 1995. One's 1995 E320 Cabriolet. Actually, my mother bought it new, and it's still in the collection. And as we were talking earlier about hydraulic top cylinders, yeah, this is how I learned about hydraulic top cylinder being expensive and a really pain in the ass. But this car is in perfect condition. It's got 40,000 original miles on it. I
gorgeous.
had 25 until a couple of years ago.
So that's a nice
And
redwood
the other
eligible
car
car.
is really, yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And the next car is a 1995 Porsche 968. This car is like unbelievably clean. clean for the mileage. It has 70,000 miles on it. Unbelievably clean in general. It has a limited slip differential, a couple other good options. Doesn't have the MO30 performance package, suspension package, but it's pretty much everything else. It's been updated with some turbo twist wheels. Has a special tech art front splitter, which is a very rare and very desirable among 958 owners. Has a few other modifications. Has a short throw shift kit. Has a period correct RS bar and chip. It has Design One racing strut bar. It has tech art exhaust tip. It's got a bunch of other suspension modifications as well, to really make this a dial-in car. And that's actually one of my favorite cars ever to drive. I find it to be much more fun to drive a slow car fast than a fast car slow. And 968 is not exactly slow, but it's not it's not a 3.5 second 0 to 60 car. Let's just put it that way. But I will tell you one thing: if you put that thing on the track or on a nice back twisty road, it'll outdrive most things.
Yep, wholeheartedly agree. Yep, and people have heard me say that the same things. Slow car fast.
And Porsche.
Go ahead.
Yep, Porsche purists, of course, turn their nose up to a water-cooled front-engine transaxle car. But to me, a Porsche is more about the driving experience than the air-cooled or versus water-cooled, configuration. I think it's I think that's really what it's about as a driving experience. So thanks a lot, Rudy, for letting me share with everybody.
Absolutely,
Please
Ross.
follow us on Instagram at Fringe Car Collector.
I thank you. I can't thank you enough for putting that together and sending that over. I know we had some tech challenges getting the video ready, but it all came together. And any last questions for Ross on the on either of the live streams? Type them now so I can. I'm just going to wait a second here. And while we're doing that, if you guys saw the this week, if you get the newsletter or if you go on the site, we had our latest Guess What Ride contest was I put 4 1966 roof lines of fastback cars. And so I'm going from memory here. I was going to have a slide, but I had a 65 Mustang, a 66 Mustang Barracuda, an AMC Marlin, and a Dodge Charger. So the correct you can go on the website and see that. But the winner of that, and that was our most successful one yet, was Michael Barboza. So I appreciate. I'll send an email out to you. You're going to get the. Hey Ross, I'm going to hang up on you because you're. No offense, I'm getting. All right, so I'm going to hang up on Ross real quick. There we go, and I'm going to call. So. Back, Michael. I'm going to send you an email, and we'll get you situated for the Adams Polishes mystery box. We'll get that situated. So, I want to thank everyone, and next week I'm thinking I'm going to do a tail fin thing. So stay tuned for that. Should have it up Monday. So I'm going to call. So next up, I'm going to have, bear with me for a second here. I'm going to call back Lou, and hopefully he's going to answer. All right. There we go. Welcome back,
Good
Lou.
morning.
And
that was a great presentation.
Yeah, Ross, if you're still watching, all right, there we go. Welcome back,
Good
Lou.
morning.
Okay, if you could just turn off Facebook, then Lou, we'll be in good shape. And I'm gonna go. So next up, I've got my dear friend John, and John, I'm gonna put you in front of the microphone here. Can you see the video right now?
Right now, I'm looking at you.
How about now?
There you go. That's it.
Okay. Let me. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to flip my camera. How about now? Oh,
Still see you, but I can see the drive-by video on YouTube. There you go.
Okay. So I'm going to turn up your volume here. And I got you right in front of the microphone. So you can see it right now?
I can, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm hoping everybody can hear it. I'm going to start it back a little bit. Oop. There we go. And so why do you call it? I'm going to let you narrate from here, John. Go ahead.
All right. Well, this is my daughter's car. It's not mine. And this scene was going to start with the music from Canned Heat going up the country. I don't know if it's the classic hippie tune, but we had audio sharing problems or copyright problems. But this is a 1970 Volkswagen camper bus. It is a Riviera, and it's not a Westfalia. Back in the 60s, with the original split window buses, the Westfalias were very popular, and Volkswagen was forcing dealers to take. They would have to take what they, excuse me. They would have to take several standard buses to get one Westfalia camper. So there was a dealership that took. They contracted a company called I think it was ASI in Washington State to create another camper to take all of these Volkswagen buses they had on hand to convert them into a camper here in the States to give dealers more campers to sell. So this is one of those. It is a bay window bus. It's an early bay, which means it has the low lights instead of the lights up by the air intake grill for the ventilation. This is considered a low light bay. And in the video here, I'm popping the top. I'm guessing I'm kind of talking too much, but
Nope,
basically it's got a full bunk on top. The early Westies had like a hammock on top. And if you've noticed on early Westfalias, they would tilt from the front, and the back was high. And those are the ones that had the cot. When this came out, Westfalia changed their design and did two things. They added the upper bunk, like this one has, and they also put the storage compartment in the front so that it was easier to access the storage, the luggage rack area.
Okay, so I'm going to stop you there. John, if I remember, you're what, 6'3", 6'4"?
I'm 6'3", yeah.
Yeah,
so,
okay. So that gives you a sense, everyone, of how that top works. Go ahead.
So the top is, it's got at least 6'4" clearance so I can walk around inside of it. It's got a piano hinged panel that flips down, and then there is a cushion that you put on to extend everything. And we go camping. My daughter and I and my son will go camp, and three's a pinch. My son usually sleeps in a tent, but it sleeps two fantastic, one on top, and the bench seat in back is also a fold-out bed. So
love it.
It's really a cool bus. And I guess a little bit of background. When my daughter was 14 years old, she said, "I know what I want for my first car," and I was expecting her to say a Civic or a Prius or something, and she told me she wanted a hippie van. I'm like, a hippie van? You mean a Volkswagen bus? And she said, "Yeah, that's what I want." So I started looking at the Volkswagen buses, and the prices were crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, you're not going to get one of those. So I started looking at the bay buses. I was looking at original splitties, and came across this one on an auction site, and we won it. It was priced right, and the bus came out of Idaho, and had a truck back to Buffalo, New York, in February of 2016. And everything was good. Everything ran. We ran it for 2 years on the original motor, and then that blew up. So I'll get to the motor description later. But the bus is it's been a lot of fun.
Good.
So
this one you bought on Bring a Trailer or a different site?
No, it was a Bring a Trailer.
Okay, because Ross, if nobody caught it when he was breaking up earlier, the green truck was also a Bring a Trailer truck.
Well, also the Studebaker was a bring a trailer
That's
truck.
right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was doing a quick search on the Studebaker, and the first thing that popped up was bring a trailer. So I was like, wow. But yeah, and bring a trailer. There's about 10 of us at work that we do a weekly competition. We pick a car and we predict what the winning or highest bid will be, and whoever wins gets to pick the next car. And the week that this vehicle came on Bring a Trailer, I had won that week, so I picked it for our group's weekly competition. And we were targeting this thing is sold between $9,000 and $14,000. So when I was doing the bidding, I was going to just go up to our minimum sell price, and I won it at $8,900. So
Nice.
So it was a good deal for us to get this bus.
Good. Now, one of these days, I'll convince your guys to do the pool based on the cars we have on here. But
yeah, well, yep.
Oh.
And the bus is let's see what else. Oh yeah, it was the original 1600cc motor when we bought it, pretty much unrestored, and I got it from a guy in Boise, Idaho. The conversion was done in Washington, but the bus was in Idaho. And this guy is he's got a Volkswagen, old air-cooled Volkswagen repair shop, and he basically started buying up bays when the split windows were going out of sight on price.
Wow. And
when he worked as a little light in the shop, he fixes up a bay and sells it. So that's what the history of this one was. And I don't know anything beyond that other than the guy that I bought it from was kind of a big bus fan. So
nice.
And so here's the interior. Everything's pretty much original. There's clearly a lot of patina in the car, but everything is solid. And the heat works. Everything in the car basically is functional. With the again that bed folds on. I got to make sure I watch the right video here. I'm sorry. I'm kind of I need to watch the phone, not the
right
YouTube. But so in the motor that I put in, I bought a what they call a 0 mile long block from a company called Scat in California.
Sure.
When the original motor threw a rod, and they have various configurations, and I talked to a couple people, and they recommended just following Scat's recipe for their build. This is a dual port head. There's the original Volkswagens were single port for both sides. One port would feed both cylinders, and this is a dual port, so it's got two inlets. They are Weber carbs. It's dual Webers, but they're single barrel Webers. I chose that over the bigger, the cool looking Webers, because just for drivability. This is not a 150 horse engine. This is a 95 horse engine.
Right.
But it is a double or more than double over the base 47 horsepower 1600cc engine, and it really runs great. It has enough extra power that I changed the final drive ratio. The original gearing is over 5 to 1. It's a 533 final drive.
Wow.
And the bus would only do about 60 miles an hour, just screaming. And I think that's one of the reasons I threw a ride, because I was trying to go highway speeds all the time with it.
Yeah.
So I put in, it has a 458 final drive now, which still is steep by, modern standards, but it's, it'll pull 70 miles an hour all day now. So, which is nice to go on any distance ride. So
good. Okay.
And has all of our camp gear, and then as far as the the interior, there's all these little storage cubbies inside the bus. It does have 110 volt inside. You can hook up power to it, and you can hook up shore power. And we when we go camping, it doesn't have a refrigerator. It just has the ice box. But we fill up a cooler full of ice, and you can go for a weekend pretty easily with it. and we've been camping kind of in Pennsylvania, New York, and Ontario. We've been down to the Pennsylvania Grand Canyon, which is sort of down by that Route 44.
Mm-hmm.
The mini tail of the dragon for you Porsche guys.
Yep.
And then we've been to Watkins Glen. We've been camping up in Ontario at the Elora Gorge, and a real cool place is the Bruce Peninsula. There's a big limestone beach, and there's a cave with a water tunnel that illuminates the cave that you can swim into. It's really cool.
Huh.
And and the other thing, when you pull into a campsite with a Volkswagen camper bus, you're a rock star. Everybody wants to check out your bus, and it's pretty cool with that.
I'll bet.
And the quick walk around the outside here. One thing that's kind of I guess looking at the hatch area here, but one thing that's really kind of a challenge with these is that they have 14-inch wheels, but it requires light truck tires. And when I bought it, it had a set of car tires, and it was really pretty wobbly feeling. The bus really puts a lot of stress on car tires. So I bought a set of the heavy ply truck tires, but there's only two manufacturers. One is Michelin, and the other is Hankook. And you have to wait forever for them to make a batch of these tires. So I waited almost a year to get a set of tires for it.
Wow.
And they finally arrived, a set of Hankooks. The Hankooks are half the price of the Michelins, and it totally changed the ride and handling of this bus. It really drives super nice with a stiffer sidewall tire. And here's the underside. The bus is nice solid floors. Everything works good. And that's my daughter's bus. The bus is called Breezy. That's what she decided to name it. Just looking at hippie names. And we have fun with it. So, and then here's my GTO. That was a little, it's kind of a bit of a disgrace looking at the thing pulled apart, but I do have the motor rebuilt. It's pretty much ready to go. A dirt bike. I spent a lot of time riding motorcycles, so that's why my GTO's not done. and but I keep chipping away at it every rainy day. Like today is a good GTO day. It's too cold to ride motorcycles, and I'll probably do some GTO work. So
wow. And the story, I remember this was this the one that you took me up John Street in?
It is, yes.
Yeah. So this, if you read some of the posts I do, the first thing I always look at is a dual circuit master cylinder in an old car. And I'm still haunted to this day when John and I were going up at a pretty fast clip on a street called John Street, right around RIT. And John, it had just rained. I don't know if you remember this, John, or not, but and so John hit a few puddles, and a lot of the guys out here know what happens when you hit puddles with drum brakes. And needless to say, John was able to control it, and but learned my lesson from that point on that maybe dual circuits are the way to go. So good to see you still have the car, John. You'll get it together here.
Yeah, I get a lot of grief about that car, from my wife and everything, but I've had it this long, and so now I'm actually pretty close. And the motor was kind of, if you ever want to do another one of these, I can go through the details of what I had done for the motor, but
Nice.
That was kind of a story in itself. That I've had two motor rebuilds, unfortunately, because the first guy didn't know what he was doing. So it's worth it to pay for the guys who know what they're doing.
Yeah, good lesson learned. All right, John, thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right, hang in there, and I'm going to hang up on you. You can watch on Facebook the rest of the way.
Okay.
Mike Ruckman said in the mid-'70s we had a VW van that towed our VW Beetle drag race bug in the Seattle area. Very cool.
Oh, no kidding. Awesome.
So he probably needed that 5-to-1 ratio just to keep it going out of its own power.
Yeah, and just to follow up on the, I'm not sure who was presenting, but the with the 968, as far as driving a slow car fast, I mean, it doesn't get much slower than a Volkswagen bus. And even with the 1600cc motor, the thing was, it was very enjoyable to drive. It's kind of like driving a fast farm tractor, and people love it. Not to be, I would say if I know now, if I knew then what I know now, when I was 25 years old, I would have owned a Volkswagen bus because women freaking love that thing. So.
Very good.
All right, guys. Thanks.
All right, John. Take care. Go Bills.
Yep.
Talk to you soon, buddy.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. So All right. So if Nick, you're listening, I'm gonna dial you in now. I forgot to do that earlier, so let me do that. And so, just everybody, while we're waiting for Nick, let me. Should be coming on here for a second. Just wanted to reach out, give a shout out to Car Care Specialties. They've given us another sponsor of it. Nick, you're of a $50 gift certificate. I'm going to do in a little bit, and he dropped off some supplies. I love the P21S. Especially this, if you've never used it, this paintwork cleanser is the bomb for just minor scratches you might run into. I think I've talked a bit before about the Lexol, this Bliss Wax. They carry just the hard to find stuff. So it's carcarespecialties.com. He's running a special 20% off on Sonax this month. So want to thank Frank again Frank Wenahan, who owns Car Care Specialties now, for providing all of that. So, all right, Nick, you're back on too. Nick, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, so I think we're going to move on just a little bit here. So thanks again, John. I do appreciate that. And so, Lou, are you going to talk through this one? Lou, can you hear me?
I can hear you now, yes.
Okay. Are you going to talk through this one? Or?
Well, it's pretty much self-explanatory. And it's Nick's friend.
Got it.
Jeremy.
Okay. It's going to come in here. I think the sound, the rest. All right. The rest of the way here is.
We saw Scarf.
So the turbo
here we go.
Is from TPC Racing in Jessup, Maryland. This is their stage 1. They have a stage 2 that's intercooled, and then stage 3, which is
hear Jeremy.
Yeah, unfortunately, I've got it maxed out. So this is Jeremy, a friend of Nick's. Nick, do you want to?
Well, we don't know much about other than what Jeremy is telling us.
Okay.
That he built this car.
Okay.
The stage 1, stage 2
charger on it,
pretty
and
much produce the same power.
Highlight that during the video.
Calling about 460
so
at the crank,
also we have
which is up a tiny bit from
custom
the
badge
factory 275
which
to
we
285,
named
depending on which year of 987 you're
okay.
dealing with.
He's also in this of doing awesome interior work. The car too has got Lotus Elise seats in it right now.
Okay. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I get this.
On the interior, most of the interior has been redone. Some of it's still work in progress. The seats are out of a 2005 Lotus Elise. The seat brackets are actually modified set of brackets that were made to put the Lotus seats in a Miata, of all things.
Well, he's got some Alcantara covered. They had the steering wheel done.
Okay.
And he's going to have matching material put on his seats. She says they're extremely comfortable. They don't look it.
Yeah.
But they had to be slightly modified.
Yeah, unfortunately, the mic was not too far away for this to pick up, so we'll just have to kind of look along here. But
let's just watch.
Yeah, very interesting. Those remind me of Lotus Elan seats.
They are
Or,
Lotus seats.
or Elise seats, right? Yeah, those
Yeah,
have that look.
that's what they are.
Okay, I didn't
That's
pick
what
that
they
up.
are. Yeah, he actually picked them up and installed them in the car. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Neat.
Now,
Let's see here. Okay, here's the meat of the action here. So it looks like he's showing off the. There's the turbocharger there.
yeah, underneath the car, yeah. Um,
So for
The turbo system is from TPC Racing, Jessup, Maryland. This is their stage one. They have stage two that's intercooled, and then stage three, which is intercooled with a big turbo. The stage one, stage two, pretty much produce the same power. They're calling about 160 at the crank, which is a tiny bit from the factory 275 to 285, depending on what year 97 you're dealing with.
okay, so here's where I'm going to put the.
Some it's still a work in progress. The seats are out of a 2005
double. They ran the blow off valve off into the other exhaust pipe. So it still works. It's just doing something completely.
Here, we'll hear it start up now.
Modified set of brackets that were made to put the Lotus seats in. Not always, but they had it
All right.
the car had.
So that was the 987, and now Lou, you want to tease up this i8 Roadster? I do have the narration
yeah.
on.
Yes, this is a dear friend, two of the nicest people you ever want to meet, Joe and Marie Pagonia. They're very active in the high octane South Jersey, and they're very active in doing good deeds for other people. And right now, this is their pride and joy. They also had a 67 Marine Blue Corvette like mine that they just got rid of after all these years. And I believe this was Maria's choice for a car. So this is Joe on a windy day trying to give us as much information on his IA as he can. And
Okay.
he's very knowledgeable.
All right, so let's see if the volume's.
We should have.
Hi, it's Joe Paconia, and my friend Lou said we have to do a video.
All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to undo my mic for a minute. And that way.
3, and so here we are.
Hi, it's Joe Paconia, and my friend Lou said we have to do a
Really
video.
been a lovely automobile.
He said I had to do 3, so here we are.
Yeah.
This is our I-8, which has really been a lovely.
I'm going it through my video here.
It's a little tough.
I am wearing the mask, so my voice.
There, Nick, I just had to take you off the call, but this should help. Go ahead and put that real close to it, Lou.
The team at Penn Med called. 2 days later, they told us it was worse than they thought it was going to be, and to not be outside without a mask. So you may hear my wife in the background. She's saying hello to all her dear friends in Ioctane, and she's saying that I need to mention Jimmy Hill and Barb for checking in on us every week, and also Chris and our incredible friend Lou, God's best creatures, who sent me out to do this. Okay, the car. This is the second generation of the Roadster, which is a completely different automobile from the Coupe. While the Coupe is a great car, the electric motor here has got much greater capacity. The battery pack gives you at speed twice the range. And it comes with all kinds of neat things. I believe that the list price was something like $164, and then you start to add, and this car came with it, all the adaptive headlights, which are extraordinarily expensive. The pack, there's some active aero here. This has the so-called frozen blue trim, and you can see that there's a spoiler. And I'm not going to be able to stoop low enough to show you the diffuser. There's been a lot written about these cars, very little of which seems to pertain to this model Roadster. As I understand it, they made 504 of the last edition of the Roadsters, and then another 18 or so in a special gray color that had the enhancements that this car made. This car actually comes with a 172 scale exact replica of it. It's all of these colors with this trim. It's our car, and it says 1 of 504 on the lid of that. There's the interior. I'm sorry this is not at night. The lighting system is extraordinary, and on this model you can actually ask it to vary the lighting as you're driving around. This is supposed to be BMW's best leather, and if that's true, they must mean in current times, because people my age remember that deep German leather that was characteristics of cars in the 60s and 70s. You can take a look at Jay Leno's Grosser compressor video and see what I mean. The top goes down in 11 seconds. Maybe I have to have the door closed to do that. The first manual they gave me was a book for the coupe that had all of these pages expanded by handwritten notes. So I just took this car out, took Marie for a ride. Oh, here we go. The top is 11 seconds. And the top is carbon fiber strips that run athwart the car with a very wide strip at the front where it connects. That's to keep the top from imploding at speed. This is Gorilla Glass, and I did buy the windshield and wheel package. It was pricey, but they told me replacing that windshield was $4,800. It's supposedly the same surface on an Apple iPhone, the later models. And all of the comms for the car, including the satellite reception, supposedly go through that. Again, I can only tell you what I was told. So we've got an electric motor that's twice the size of the motor in the coupe. And I understand there's a second electric motor that acts as a supercharger with no weight or horsepower penalty to speak of for the rear wheels. There is a small 3-cylinder engine in the back, and the car is very powerful. It's actually faster to 60 than in all electric. If you drop it, it's 2 speeds, and when you drop it, it goes directly to its top speed, than it is in an hybrid model with all-wheel drive. The gasoline engine handling the rear wheels. We were on Route 70 and Springdale one night. Her Highness was driving. If you know my wife, you know that she does not know what anything other than performance mode means. And she said, there's a Camaro coming and he's weaving. And she said, I'm going to get us out of here. And I just held on. And she put her foot all the way down. So the high-speed electric motor kicked in, and she did level off at 45, but I don't ever remember getting to 45 that fast in my life. There's a boot back here, so to speak. We can fit all of the gifts for the grandchildren when we used to go see them for their birthdays. And you can see the car is carbon fiber. I'm assuming that the chassis is aluminum. When they delivered the car, I put my hand on the skin and I said, is it fiberglass? And the BMW guy looked on with horror and said, it's a carbon fiber alloy, and think of it as glass. This car came with nitrogen. You can see the green buttons. There's a device in the boot that's a pump and a nitrogen canister. Fortunately, we haven't had to do anything with that. Carbon fiber. This is used to Brembos on our Jaguar, which Lou said I have to do at some future time. And she's used to carbon ceramic on our special order Cabriolet, which Lou says I also have to do a video on. These are carbon fiber brakes, and so she's stopping 50 feet from the corner because it took a while to get used to how they grab.
Yeah.
It's just a magnificent automobile. I'm sure our friend Steve Hansen, regular at High Octane and a true friend of the Toy Drive, will do his beautiful model, which is in orange, with an extraordinary interior, and he probably knows a bit more about it than I do. The car has 2,400 miles on it. We haven't really gotten gas very often. That's it. You actually have to vent the gas tank before it will pop open. And the checks that I've had the car do come out to 76 miles per gallon. I took her out today to a nearby lake, and now that we can drive a bit, and we went all the way out on electricity and came all the way back, and then she said put the electric motor away and put on the gasoline engine. I want to hear the roar of the pipes, which I actually think is artificial, but she likes it. So that's basically the car. You can see the quality of the workmanship. All of this is leather, and you can buy a paste from BMW for $86, or as one of the BMW geniuses told me, you can use 303 cleaner, which is almost the same composition. So that's what we do, and it clears everything over. It's been a delight. We sold our 67 Corvette. We had several nice offers. She said, fine, if you get me a supercar. We had a deposit down on a McLaren. They discounted the car because of my relationship with Mr. Holman. Joe and I were friends 50 years. This is the 48th car. And fortunately, before his last, which turned out to be terminal illness, he got to see this automobile. And it was a tradition, as I said, to go back 48 cars in the 51 years that we've been together. So that's the car. I apologize again. I know my voice is bad, and the mask makes it even worse. But here we are, and I hope you enjoyed it. And we'll be doing the others, unless Lou says the reaction to this is so bad that we ought not to. Oh, storage space. There are 3 cubicles behind the seats that fold down. The partitions come out. You've got storage space there. And there's an awful lot of room behind the seats. It's actually like a well in there. And it does take a bit for me to get in and out of. I try and have the top down when I do get in and out of it, and then close it up. My wife's tiny, so she has no problems. And I can't talk to you at all about echo mode. The people from BMW, the national call-in line, they kept calling to see if we had any questions. And they actually told me people get worse mileage in Echo Pro because they're constantly stomping down on the pedal. You lose an awful lot of throttle response, as well as air conditioning and the heated seats and the air that blows on your neck and all of those other goodies. The heads-up display is awesome here. And again, I'm sorry it's not at night. And they also charge you an arm and a leg for ceramic controls. I don't know why they're necessary, but Her Highness likes them, and so we have them. And so that's it. This is our BMW i8 Roadster. Miss you guys. Marie said we miss our grandchildren, High Octane and Ocean City in that order. And hopefully we'll get to see you all in the not too distant future. When I took her at Zion Lake yesterday, we passed by Piccalilli that was closed but there was a motorcycle club and 2 car clubs in there, and they seemed to be enjoying themselves with some attempt at social distancing, I would say. And there were a few masks in the group also. So stay well, stay safe. We miss you folks, and that's all. I'll get off. Thank you.
Great. Lou, thank you for playing that. So a couple questions came on while we were there, and I was looking it up. So Mike Ruckman, will it spin the rear wheels or is it all-wheel drive? And it has two electric motors driving all 4 wheels, so it does get the torque down. I've seen other videos where that does a remarkable job of getting the power to the pavement, and because of that, it's got a 0 to 60 time, I'm told, of 4.6 seconds, and that's got to feel like quite the rush. And then Mr. Pollock, at 220 volts, the charge is 3 hours. So, a very impressive car. It was, I think, at the Christmas event, right, Lou, where the 2 of them were parked side by side, the orange one that he mentioned?
Yes, yes,
yeah.
Steve.
So I look forward to, like he said, when we all get back together, we can see both of
do
those
that.
machines.
And thank you again to Joe for braving the wind and the cold and going outside and doing that video for us.
Yes, thank you,
and,
Joe. Appreciate it.
For Her Highness for allowing him to do that. So.
Well, good. So
Marie is a highness. She's sweet as can be. She's a doll. So
that's awesome.
Good people. Yeah. Very fortunate to have met them.
Good. So I appreciate you guys putting that together. Nick, I had for the bandwidth issues, I pulled you down, so I apologize for that. So one last thing for the car care specialties stuff. While we were watching that video, I pulled out Tim Hammond, if you're out there, is the winner for the car care specialties $50 gift certificate. So I'll email that. So Steve, thank you. Steve Rice writes, thanks, guys. Good fun. So I just want to thank, this week I want to thank Nurse Nancy, my lovely wife and engineering assistant, for putting up with me and making sure everything's working from not too far away. Frank Wenehang from Car Care Specialties, Lou and Nick from the Garage Mahal, all the members of the South Jersey High Octane, and Joe and Nick's friend there with the Boxster. Ross Gale, who's at Fringe Car Collector, who showed all his great toys earlier, and John Pollock calling from snowy Western New York. So I want to thank everyone. We'll figure out what we're going to do next week, because I think, like it or not, social distancing's probably going to be staying around at least another week here in Jersey. I don't know, Lou, if you got any thoughts on that, but that's pretty much what we're hearing.
I think that's happening, and I'm going to try to get a beautiful 1965 Riviera as one of the featured cars for next week.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that car. And
yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, so if anyone out there wants to, do a video of their car, hopefully you can see it's pretty straightforward to do. Send me an email at guyswithrides.com, or my phone number's out there. Would love to have it. We look for about 10 minutes of video and have you call in and narrate it. So
I was gonna do a Roush Mustang, but I saw one of the comments.
Yes, I meant to mention that.
No, dude, we're not mentioning that because I blocked it. I blocked it. Oh.
Okay. So that's too funny.
I saw you smile, so I had to. I was looking at Facebook's video, and then it's strange on the Facebook when you scroll down to comments, it cuts off the video, and it doesn't do that on YouTube. So the video stops on Facebook if you want to type in a comment or read a comment. As it scrolls up, it shuts it off. So I went to YouTube to look at it, and then you can see all the comments there. And then I came across that one. And
so for those of you that are out of the joke, someone that's close to Lou, whose last name rhymes. Yeah, well, who is it?
Stuart, my son.
Okay. So
that was his car.
Oh, okay. So another car you're going to feature in the future here. He calls it a